these are cost KSC 785s. They are an incredible budget pair of open ear clip-on headphones that really rival the sound quality of many other headphones that are, I'd say, 4 or 5 times their price range. And I quite like these. They don't really have any bass, right? Now, I don't really listen to music on these. I use these for calls, mostly because I can't for the life of me use closed back headphones or in-ear monitors when I'm on a video call or a phone call or when I just need to hear my own voice. It's just not possible. Like it makes me nauseous or something. I not being able to hear yourself. If I do want to hear myself, I talk louder, and then the neighbors get angry, and then this and that. Next thing I know, you know, what do you do? So these are great for that. I only use these for video calls and whatnot. I there is a mod to make them wireless. I didn't do that mod. I actually have an MMCX cable, detachable cable mod on these. Uh, I could make them wireless actually. I've also have these. These are these like weird clip-on open ear headphones. I'm gonna make a video on these a little bit later. They're pretty awful, but they were $2, and they're wireless. And I just wanted to try them out. We're at a point right now where we're sort of like in the wild, wild west when it comes to open ear headphones. So there's all these weird kooky designs out there that I just want to try and experiment with. But these are very interesting, so I will maybe make a video on this later. Now, the subject of today's video is not these KSC 75s, but there's something very similar because I was looking for something or something caught my eye when I was shopping at Tokopedia. And if you don't know, Tokopedia is sort of like an Craigslist, eBay, and Amazon had a baby basically, and it's only in Indonesia, I think. And I found, let me put these to the side somewhere. I have found these, right? There's different kinds of like open ear clip-on headphones out there. Panasonic makes one. AKG, I think makes no Audio Technica makes one. There's quite a few out there competitors. People usually say these are the best. These were $30 or $20 or $15. I don't actually remember how much I paid for these, but they were, very cheap. Get out of there. Um, these were $2. $2, right? Can you believe that? I'm holding upside down. TaffStudio. What does this say? MDR-Q940s. Have you heard of that brand? Also go by the name the Shini MDR-Q940s. They actually go by quite a few different names, and no one's heard of any of them. So it's sort of like this mass-produced Chinesium junk, right? So they produce like a billion of these, and then they sit in the inventory stock, and then different brands buy them and put their own names on them and whatnot. And so that's what I have right now. Bought these for $2. They came. I wish I kept the packaging because it'd be fun to like unbox them with you guys. But the packaging material was pretty interesting, and the great thing about them too is these advertised as having an in-ear, or sorry, inline microphone. Sorry, um, they didn't come with one. There was no in-ear microphone, and that was like a huge thing that I wanted, right? Because then I could just plug it into my phone, and then I'd have a microphone. But they didn't come with one. The problems didn't end there. They also had reversed channels. It actually took me almost a week to realize that the left and right was reversed. You can imagine me like playing video games. I was playing like PUBG or something like that, or playing a bunch of games like Warframe or whatever. I couldn't figure out like I was, someone's walking around to the left, I look right, there's no one there. Like, I couldn't believe it took me that long to figure out that they were switched, but they were switched. So what I did, and the keen eye of you may have noticed that there's a bit of electrical tape here, and as you could have guessed, I have actually um, put my own cable with a microphone and corrected the reverse channels. So it's sort of like uh, two birds with one stone thing kind of here. This is a cable that I have also bought from Shopee or Tokopedia or something for like really cheap. One thing about the process, right? So I'm not really awful at soldering, right? Um, so I thought it was me the whole time. The It took me like 2 weeks to figure out how to solder this, and I'm not saying it's not my fault. It's not my fault. Usually with headphones, there's like four different kinds of wires. There's a black, there's a blue, green, and a red, and then each one means something. I don't know. I forgot what they mean. I think green is right positive, blue is left positive, red is negative, and black is ground. I think it's that way. I forgot. With these, it was random, completely mixed up. They did not care, or they just didn't know. Like I think black was left on one side, and then the other side. So like the green was, it was a total mess. None of it made any sense. Took me a week before I could figure that out, and then in total I spent like hours soldering it together. Kind of taught me how to solder better. Okay, so I, at least I got something out of it. But I also got a ton of fumes inhaled in my lungs, so maybe it's not really worth it. But anyways, yeah, these are now, after maybe 10 hours of manual labor and 2 weeks later, finally got them to the point where that they should have come from the factory. Amazing. On the one hand, they are kind of terrible, but on the other hand, they're terrible in, because they're $2, they're terrible in almost a charming way. If you know, it's like they kind of try to make them sound good. Um, I listened to these first and I thought these aren't that bad. These are, not terrible. And then I switched to these. I'm like, oh yeah, these are pretty bad. Um, yeah. So the difference is like, I wouldn't say it's night and day, but it is like, just the sound staging on these are so narrow. It's like I'm listening to, when you put a phone like inside like a tube, like a paper toilet paper tube or something like that, to like make like a makeshift speaker. These are like that. The bass basically the same, but somehow these have gone really muddy. So, the separation is not great. If you're listening to music, which I never do with these, they're pretty bad. They're adequate. Out of 10, from 0 to 10, they're like a 3. They're usable. They're usable. Yeah, I don't know. That's it. Like if you were to buy these, they would not be usable actually, because the channels would be switched. And then if you don't want to switch them, using this method, you'd have to use like an equalizer APO or some sort of setting like in your device to swap the channels. Like who wants to do that, right? That's such a hassle. Um, yeah, I don't know. Just they're not good. And I don't think this is an issue with all of them. I think there was a bad batch that had this. I was looking at the reviews online, and some people said they were just okay, but like you don't know, maybe they just don't know any better. It's quite possible, and maybe the reviews are fake. That's also quite possible. Oh, I have one big downside of these. So they're rated to be 32 ohms, which everything aux port, uh these are 32 ohms. These headphones are 32 ohms. Like most 99% of things are 32 ohms, unless you get some sort of like planar or high-end pair of headphones. Sometimes they go up to like 250 ohms, 500 ohms, 750 ohms. But almost every pair of consumer headphones out there, that aren't enthusiast grade or higher, are 32 ohms, right? Because that's you don't need an amp or a DAC for that. You just need the aux port. Yeah, I need an amp for these. I am not kidding. These also are kind of hard to drive, but I don't know. I think back headphones just are a little bit always are a little bit harder to drive than closed backs, because you don't have all the sound waves. They're not trapped in the closed space. They sort of leak out everywhere. So you need a little bit more volume so to compensate for that. I had to plug these into an amp and crank the volume, and they would sound a bit better. Like they were almost twice as loud as I could make them out of my handphone or just out of my PC front speaker thing, like my front aux port on my computer. Even my MacBook, like these just don't get loud enough. But plugging them into an amp, I actually had to get like a 1/4 inch jack adapter to plug them in. I put so much more power into them, and they started sounding almost good. And right when they were going to start sounding good, they started distorting. And then there's nothing you can do about that. It just started distorting. When I first got these, also I had equalizer APO, and I had like my own custom. I played with a bunch of custom settings and my own EQ on these. Tried a bunch of EQs. Basically, just gave up. Yeah, they're just not worth more time. Like I've already spent so much, I've already wasted so much time on these. But it's fun. It's experiment. Like just tinkering. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll make some more out in the future. I'm probably gonna do one on those earbud things right here, and then I've got a few IEMs that I'm gonna do, and then I'm gonna review the Samsung SR850s. These have a cult-like followings because someone blew them up. And I was a sucker who bought these, and I don't really like them that much. I mean, I don't dislike them, but I have my problems. I'll go anyways. I'll go further into them in a future video. But that's it from me, guys.